Let's talk about math and majors. Okay, how many of you think college degrees right now are worthwhile or worthless at this point? Just think about it. How many of you think this? Okay, I know there are people on both sides, but right now it feels that some people, most people, are thinking that college degrees are worthless. Okay, let's think about that. It depends on the job, really, or the major, I should say. If you're working at Starbucks over the summer, you probably have a major that doesn't have a lot of internships offered, like philosophy, for example. But if you're in a major like computer science, you could be working for a software company, an internship there, stuff like that. So let's just say right now, you have to think about your college career right now. So where are the transferable skills from where you are now to the jobs that you're going to be doing after you leave college? That's the questions you need to ask yourself for the courses you're taking. What's the focus of your degree? So let's just say you have a job somewhere and you're asked, it's your first presentation, you're hired for a small business, and you give a graph of something like this. Oops, let's do it more like that. There we go. And then you have a money sign here. Okay, first of all, if you do something like this, you're probably going to get fired. Why? Because your axes aren't labeled. You didn't, I don't know, I mean, obviously that might mean profits, but what's down here, you know? What if it's conveyed? Most people think that this goes in the positive direction or ascending. So many people think that this might be 2000 and this is 2014. So you're thinking that the profits are declining. But no, you meant that right here, this is, it's actually increasing. You didn't specify that. So be specific in what you're doing. Pretty much, this is a language. It's like learning English. How you transfer information, how you take it from what you have, how you analyze it and convey it to someone else, whether it's a person in a group or whether it's one person or people in a group, you have to communicate. And this is one way of communication. A lot of people, well, okay. Taking graphs like this and mathematically analyzing the graphs, you could do anything. If you want to study something, in order to understand what you have to have the given information, take it and analyze it, okay? So let's just talk real quick. The way you study something, in order to do that, you have to understand what you're given and analyze the potential results. Taking stuff like graphs, the mathematical analysis, you can apply graphs to anything. Anything. Calculus, the study of change. Anything that changes, you can calculate and convey and even show by graphing. And graphing is not only one way of doing it. The more you understand, the more you think critically. By taking advanced math courses, for example, the further you will go in your careers. A lot of people want to become doctors. Some of you may be thinking, you don't have to know all this stuff. But why do doctors take these classes? It's the skills and the thought process you have to go through. Synthesizing complex information, figuring out how to solve the problem, and implementing these things. These are the things you have to do and face over and over. Not just in classes, math classes or chemistry classes, science classes, whatever, but in life. So if you want to go to medical school, for example, how many tests will you have to take between now and getting your MD? Think about that. Well, it never ends. If you're a doctor, and if you want to keep your license, every couple of years you're going to have to take something called boards. And those exams are real tough. If you think the classes you're taking now in college are tough, those are way more difficult. So you got to have the skills. You got to take the information that's new, process it, analyze it, and present it in a way that's easily understood. And that's how it's going to be now, and that's how if you're going to get into med school to compete and even get there. So it's not med school, it doesn't have to be med school either. If you just want to be a successful adult, run your own business, or whether you want the MD or go to law school or whatever, the transferable skills may not be calculus in this case. Most of us don't care about what the absolute value of x looks like, what the graph would look like. No one cares. Well, some people do. Doctors might not, but engineers do. So if you're in a class of 500 kids, some of those people will need this information. Some of them won't. Certain chapters will help, certain chapters won't. But taking the information and understanding it will help too. So not everybody has to know this information that you're learning today. People say, oh, when am I going to use this in real life? Well, not everyone has to know it, but having the general ability to acquire and take that knowledge and comprehend it is the skill you take in those classes. By taking an abstract idea, processing it, and explaining it to somebody else, and showing it, that's the necessary component in any class. So, feel free to reject math if you like, but you won't get far in your professional career if you don't try, and that's the key. Try. Try in everything you do.